Hi guys, it's me, the Big B, and time for another follow-up video. Now I did a bit of a video on my HTC One X when I first got it and raved on how good it was and blah blah blah. Which at the time it was. When you first get things out of the box, things seem a little bit better than what they are. Now this is about 11 days on, and this is what I think of the phone, what I like and what I don't like. And I can tell you now, before we even start, that the dislikes outweigh the likes by a long way. Right, HTC One X. Got it on upgrade, was kind of this other iPhone 4S, so I went for this because it was like fresh, new, it was something different. And initially, really good. That screen, 4.7-inch Super LCD screen, is to die for. Viewing angles are amazing. It looks like it's painted on, it's that good. But the screen does not make the phone. It helps, but it does not make the phone. Now the problems I've been having since I got this are pretty bad, pretty major ones. And the kind of deal breakers, if I'd known a little bit more beforehand, I maybe would have made a different decision. Now the major problem, the first problem, is battery that you can't actually get into, and the battery life. Now my wife upgraded at the same time and she got the HTC One S, the cut down version of this bad boy, and we ran the same program, fully charged, and I used these phones and others that I've had for ghost hunting because I have my own ghost hunting team, and we use them for that sometimes. So we ran the same program, it was Ghost Radar, we ran that 20 minutes in, and her phone, it hadn't even made a dent. Not even a dent. I mean, it's not, using a lot of processing power for something like that. This thing, it nearly killed half my battery in 20 minutes. Now, considering, this is a high-tech phone, that's a bit of a problem. Now, this does use the Tegra 3, which is a quad-core CPU, 1.5 gigahertz, but it was running Ghost Radar. Now, it's got a governor inside, so it doesn't use all the cores all of the time. So I would assume, probably wrongly, but I would assume it was only running at least dual core to run something like that, and it was destroying my battery. I mean, really bad. So that's a bit of a problem. Now, on moderate use, and that is few phone calls, bit of texting, maybe a little bit of checking Facebook, I can get through a day. Just by the end of the day, I'm seriously needing to charge. When my wife is nowhere near, she could literally knock out 2 days easy with how she uses it. So that's a big difference. I know, again, like I said, there's a difference in the spec of the phones, but not that much. It shouldn't be making that much difference. And this thing, you can't change the battery, which is a major, major problem. Now, talking about the battery and things and charging, on every other phone I've had, I've been able to, if I was going to play a major game, say on my iPhone 4, I could plug it into power, play away, and I had constant power, it didn't drain the phone. It was even charging while I was using it. Can't do that on this. I tried, and it went really bad. When you play in a major game, 3D game on this boy, it gets really hot, and I mean really, really hot. Uncomfortable to hold hot. Just around about there. And that goes right through to the front as well. So when you're playing like this, you're holding it, it's actually really uncomfortable. You have to take your hands off. It's that hot. And the front of the screen as you're touching it is really uncomfortably hot. Now when I plugged it in, it did like the player while I was playing, you couldn't keep hold of this thing, and it was disturbingly hot. So I had to just stop the game, let it sit, before this thing actually melted through the arm of my chair. Now when I did check on the forums, that was one of the major problems. Someone said do not play this thing when it's plugged in. Found out the hard way. So that is a bit of a problem. It does get pretty toasty warm. So like I said, we're not doing too good at the minute. I like the screen. It's like the screen to die for. Battery, big problem. Overheating, big problem. Next big problem is that thing there, camera. Now initially, it's got good specs. You can take 1080p video and take a photograph. If you miss the photograph, while you're viewing the video back, you can still take a snapshot. So it's got all them like nice, tasty features, but the camera's not as good as what it should be. This thing, quad core, very fast, 1 gig of memory. Now when I'm taking video I'm seeing stutter. There's frame stutter and there's little hiccups in the video. There shouldn't be. I knocked it down to 720p and it did the same. The stutter, it's not smooth. The movement isn't smooth. Now I've used an iPhone 4 and when I took video of that it was perfectly smooth. There was little to none of frame drop or anything like that, but this was quite choppy is all the only word I can use. It wasn't smooth, it didn't look right. I knocked it down to 720p, still didn't look right. I wasn't prepared to take it any further down because what's the point? This thing's a high-end phone. 720p should be the lowest I should need to go for thing. I didn't want to go any lower. It probably would have done a bit better the lower in resolution you go on, but why do I want to? That's the big selling point of the phone. Photographs, 8 megapixel. Some in the right lighting conditions were crystal clear, and I do mean crystal clear. But that was one in every, say, 5 photographs. The rest of them, they had like, some of them are under certain light conditions had a very purpley tinge about them. I mean, weird. It's not picking the colours up right. Some of the outside photographs, the colours just seemed off. Unless you're in absolute optimum, and I mean optimum lighting conditions, then it's perfect. There's, like I say, a couple of the outside ones when I was on a day trip recently, when the lighting's just right, when the sun's just at the right angle, beautiful pictures, but the very, very few and far between. Some of them are quite blurred as well, I've noticed. I took some video, and again, Jesus was it choppy. When I'm panning left and right, it's sort of like, just doesn't look right. Choppy as anything. And it's got a blurriness to it, like a dreamy effect to it, and I've got no other effects or nothing on, that's just standard camera. That's not right with a phone of this spec. Whether that can be dealt with in a firmware issue, I don't know. This has just been updated, or 2, very recently, 1.29 point whatever, the latest one from O2 at the minute, and it's not fixed anything like that, because that was just the other day when I took the video. So, and again, I've took it off the phone and put it on the computer to make sure it is not just the phone thing, and it's still choppy, so it's taken the video like that. That's how it's actually rendering it. So that needs to be sorted out. What else can I say? Call quality seems to be pretty good. I like the texting on it, and you got the swipe texting, you know, you can do all that business. Internet, there's another sticky point. Again, quad-core phone, very fast. And when I was pinching to zoom in on some of the websites, God, was it slow at redraw on the screen. It was painfully slow. And again, the iPhone 4 I had, even the 3GS was faster. I had the Galaxy S2 recently. That was faster. This thing was like when you pinch to zoom and it's something to rejigger the screen. It was like, you know, it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be instantaneous, and it's not. I tried a different browser. That was the inbuilt one that everyone's supposed things to use. I tried like the Firefox, the Chrome. They're all the same. It's not a smooth experience, or not as smooth as it should be. Sometimes it's better than others, but Jesus wept. I expected a hell of a lot better. So to be honest, I'm that disgruntled with it in a way that I've now got it on Gumtree, I've got it on my Facebook site. I'm just wanting to swap it out for an iPhone 4S. I'm even willing to go down to back to an iPhone 4, and that's saying something, rather than kind of put up with this. Like, again, if you're looking at getting this, or the Galaxy S3, or an iPhone 4S, I would generally say, until these bugs are fixed, I would go the other ways. I would go either iPhone or Galaxy S3, which doesn't seem to be having as many problems. Because this thing, if you're a gamer and you're going, oh, Tegra 3 and quad core, unless you want to cut down on your heating bills and just have this thing running, it's no good. It gets really, really far too hot. You cannot plug it in to get extra power to play it, because it gets even hotter still. And there's quite a few people on the forums with the same problem. If you're like a lot of phone calls and you're doing a lot of texting and a heavy internet user, you could be in for problems. I mean, I've got unlimited. I've got the O2 on and on, which is unlimited calls, unlimited texts. Now, I cannot put that in practice really, because again, you make a few decent phone calls, it starts chewing at that battery starts going down. You can obviously text for quite a lot longer because that doesn't really take a lot. But if you're a heavy phone call user, be aware that you can't change that battery. You can't put an extended battery in, say like you can with the Galaxy S3. You can't have a spare battery in your pocket and swap it out if you need to, if you're out and you're nowhere near a charging point. You've got to almost have the plug and the charging plug strapped to your waist while you're using this thing when you're out. And it becomes a problem because you're aware of that battery. So you maybe don't, like I did on my day out recently. I didn't take as many photographs as I maybe could have done or should have done. And I didn't take as much video as I maybe could have done, because I was aware of that battery going down rapidly. So you've got that. If you're getting it for the camera that you see on the telly, they push that camera, again, you maybe want to think twice. It's not as good as what they think. That guy on the advert where he's falling out that plane taking a video of that girl and it's silky smooth on the screen, it isn't. It doesn't come out like that. It's not that easy, and the quality isn't that good. You can say 1 in 5 photographs, if you hit it right, they can be really clear. It can take a nice picture. But, you know, you should be getting them shots every time. The camera should be good enough to cope with the change in light conditions. This doesn't seem to be able to do this. Like I say, that kind of like dreamy effect, like fuzzy on some of the pictures. The colours just aren't right on some of them. It's just not quite there. And that choppy video. So if you're getting it for a camera phone, I would go towards, again, the iPhone 4S or the Galaxy S3. If you're just a moderate user, and I do mean moderate, a few phone calls, bit of texting, check your Facebook while you're out kind of thing, then yeah, it's fine. You get through a day, you still have to charge. You'll not get through 2 days, definitely not. You'll get through the day on moderate use, but again, you're getting this phone because it's the latest, greatest phone. It's got that quad-core processor, and you can't take advantage of it at all. The camera doesn't seem to take advantage of that speed at all. You know, this thing's cooking. It literally is cooking. I don't know how that screen survived when I plugged it in and was playing that game, because the front of the screen got just as hot as the back, to the point I couldn't actually control what I was doing because it was hot. It was very hot. So it's kind of like a wasted opportunity. It shouldn't have had an enclosed battery, or if it did, like the iPhone 4SRs, it should have been a higher capacity battery to take into account that screen, because like I said, that screen, you might not be able to see it as such. Oh, God. You might be able to see it as such from here, but that screen is amazing. Look at the viewing angles. It doesn't sort of fade or thing. Beautiful screen. Just really, really dodgy battery. Now, I'm not going to ramble on much longer. I mean, I think you get the idea of what I'm saying. Initially, out of the box, it seemed really good. Oh, quad core and all that thing. But when I took it into day-to-day use, normal day-to-day use, it's becoming a bit of a problem. I cannot take the charger with us everywhere I freaking go and say to people, can I just plug this in? It's embarrassing. I should be able to like do as much phone calling as I want. I've got unlimited calls and things, and I can't, because I'm aware of that battery. If I know I'm out all day and I'm not going to get to a charging point or get back to my charger till later on in the day, you know, it does put you off using it a little bit and getting the most out of it. So if you've got any questions, you know, drop us a message at the bottom here. I will answer you back. Like I say, definitely a lot to take on board there. Some people may argue, but as you've seen from the other videos, anyone who watches my videos, I give it as it is. It's an honest look at the phone. I'm not a fanboy of any one phone. Even though I said I'm going to go back to the iPhone, I'm going back to that. Not because it's an iPhone, it's because it does what I need it to do. And this just doesn't. I'm not biased anywhere. This is my honest opinion of this phone. So, you know, I don't want any fanboys again, fanboy here to say, no, you're just an Apple boy or whatever. I'm not. I've been through all the phones. And if you watch some of my back videos, I was one point changing phones very, very regularly. So, right, I'm rambling again. Any messages down below, let us know. I'll get back to you. And thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time, guys.